Nosce te ipsum, know thyself. We often hear these words, and it gets a little boring after a while because we've all heard it before. What does it actually mean, and how can we make this practical? What it means is, as long as we ignore our inner life, we will have troubles in external circumstance. Why? Because our inner life seeps out at every pore. Any interaction, whether it be at work, or at school, or in social gatherings, or in social settings, or romantic settings, relationships, we are going to interact with the world based on our own inner life, based upon our memories, our experiences, our values, our character flaws, things that we haven't addressed. Let's say that you have a temper. Let's say that you have procrastination issues. That will affect work, that will affect relationships. So our inner life is really what affects external circumstance. We always are going to be seeking after external objects. As humanity, we're going to be seeking after external things. We want material things, or love, or support, or maybe spiritual enlightenment. There's always an object of desire. But what we learn is what we're really experiencing is our own reflection. Our own reflection. We're seeing ourselves reflected in the objects about us. Maybe this new shiny object will give me happiness. Maybe this new person I just met will understand me and I'll have wholeness. But have we come to know ourselves? Often we hear people say, know thyself. Does this statement ever really change much, just saying this? We have to understand what it means. What does it mean at its core? What it means is very important and very instructive, very practical and transformative. If we gain a teaching and it doesn't change our lives after, then why are we wasting our times with this teaching? We need knowledge that transforms us. We want to be thrown into the transforming fire and transformed. We want to be what we weren't before. Or actually, rather, we are more truly ourselves. Because as we draw inward to the core of ourselves, we find who we really are. Vitriol. Visit the interior of the earth and you will find the hidden stone. At the center of our being, at our core, we find who we really are. That is the key that unravels all knots. That is the key that unlocks all doors. That is the riddle. That is the key that resolves all riddles and unties all knots. It is the self. And what does it really mean? It's very simple. Let's use an example. If we work on our own inner trauma, we're going to have better relationships. If we work on our own, I'm not referring to me or anyone else, by the way, I'm not. But let's say abandonment issues, okay? If you don't address that, that's going to come up in relationships. If you don't deal with character flaws like procrastination or temper, it may have a problem at work. So basically what I'm saying is, our inner life is always going to be reflected in the outer world. It is by necessity reflected in the outer world. Our inner life seeps out at every pore of our being, whether we want it to or not. What do we exude from our pores? What is our inner life that comes into our life? Are we bringing in perfume and fragrance or stench? What are we bringing into our lives? Often we're always focused on external objects, so we tend to wonder why external events always don't come out in our favor. If they always don't come out in your favor, maybe there's a pattern, maybe it's something within. Now, what I am saying is we need to go within and address things like the inner child or deal with our own phobias. Now, I am not going New Age, absolutely not. However, all of these things come to the surface as you do the work. All of these things come to the surface. As soon as you begin to shut your eyes and draw within to the internal worlds we see waiting for us, those things that have not been addressed. We have to address it. and unraveling ourselves and discovering who we truly are. And as we work on our own character flaws, we tend to have less procrastination. As we work through our abandonment issues, our relationships improve. As we work through our procrastination, we find that we do better materially and financially. As we work through our temper and we correct these flaws, as we, so to speak, equilibrate the klipot, okay? As we equilibrate the shells, okay, because we want the balanced Sephiroth. As we work through the tree in this way, our lives gradually we begin to pick up ourselves. No longer are we destroying, no longer are we acting against our own backs. Most people, when they don't address the inner life, accidentally, or is it intentional subconsciously, accidentally, so to speak, we are acting against ourselves. We say we want this object, really the source is in ourselves, but we think we want this object, and then because of our character flaws, it goes badly, and then we're supposed to gain a life lesson. The key is to turn within, deal with your own flaws and your own problems, then you can have meaningful relationships. Then you can have success in your career where you've been having issues. Then you can unravel because you're learning the lessons. And then you're not just trying to harness occult forces to master the world, like some kind of weirdo. No, Professor Xavier, you're also trying to actually work on yourself and grow and gain inner knowledge. And that is the difference between someone that is just that is the difference. That is what brings growth in, okay? That is what causes us to become expanded, more of who we really are, but expanded. It's like a seed. A seed has the potential. A seed this big has the potential of an oak, okay, of a tree. You plant the seed, from this comes a vast tree with its shoots into the heaven, its roots deep into the earth, with birds alighting in its branches, life. It shades us from the sun. This little seed has grown. It was always there in potential. We need to unravel of ourselves, okay? We need to learn to deal with our own inner life. Now, that is basically what I'm saying is, we're always focused on the external world. We have to turn within. We need to know who we are. We need to examine our own flaws. Most people don't want to look at their own flaws. When people bring up flaws, people get mad. They want to shut their ears. I don't want to hear that. Don't say that again. They get mad. They don't want to know their flaws because they don't want to know themselves. They prefer the darkness of ignorance. They prefer to be blind to themselves. So never knowing themselves, they will always destroy with the left hand what the right hand has created. They always act against their own backs. They always to end up destroying as soon as they create, because they believe that they want this external thing. And then they act against their own interests because they haven't done the internal work. Do the internal work and the outer will much more easily come. A steamboat must overcome its own a steamboat must overcome its own inertia before it can begin to attack the resistance of the water. So governing our inner cosmos, being the whirling and disobedient thoughts and emotions and all of these passions within us, we need to address our own traumas, our own inner life, and this will reflect in a better adjusted external life. So these are the lessons that we learn with esotericism and occultism, okay? Some people have Bible stories and we have esoteric symbols to reflect upon and to ponder and to think about, what does this mean in life? For us, it is nosce te ipsum, know thyself. What does this really mean, to know thyself? If we know ourselves, then we can truly understand the mystery of life, because life is merely a mirror. Life is a mirror. They are the reflective waters, which actually ended up drowning Narcissus. But life is a mirror. It will reflect what you put into it. Life is reflective, okay? It is the pool of water that is reflected. It reflects the inner life. So when we begin to address the inner life, the external life changes. And often this just degrades into superstition and stuff. What people need to understand is maybe the most essential lesson is actually we need to work on our own inner selves. That is the greatest journey, the greatest satisfaction. And when we begin to master ourselves, we begin to have the peace that surpasseth understanding. We begin to have true peace that can never be found in external things. So, anyways, that's it for now, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day, y'all.